Okay, so I'm sure many of you have played like Don't Let the Balloon Touch the Floor when you were little. Like you and your friends are like running all over the place, like trying to keep the balloon up for like as long as you can before someone just smacks it to the ground. Well, a lot of people compare that game to volleyball. That volleyball is just like a way intense version of Don't Let the Balloon Touch the Floor. So today I want to explain to you the rules, some of the basic rules of volleyball, the positions you can play, and then a few plays you can run. So one of the rules is that each team is only allowed to have 3 touches, so before like sending it over the net. So one of them that you want to get is a pass, which you would pass right here with your platform. The next one you want to do is a set, which you have above your head and you pass with your hands. And then next is a hit over the net, trying to get a point. So one of the other rules is that one person isn't allowed to touch the ball 2 times in a row. So I wouldn't be able to like pass a ball and then set my own pass. Like it has to be someone else unless it's off of a block. So if you're putting your hands up to try to keep the ball from coming over to your side and it ends up coming to your side, you're then allowed to pass it. That's allowed. So next, I want to talk about the boundaries when you're playing. So right here is my little court, and then this is the net right here. So when you're serving, you're going to serve right here on the outside of the court. And so when you're serving, you're not allowed to step on the line or onto the court until the ball has already left your hands and is going over the net. Next, you want to keep the ball inside of the court, and then there's antennas right here on the net to show you where the lines on the court are. So if the ball touches the antenna, you know it's out. And then if the ball is like outside of the antenna, like you know it's outside of the court. Next, you want to make sure that you don't step under the net when you're on the court, and you want to make sure that you're not touching the net at any given time, because that can end up being really dangerous. You can hurt people on the other side. You can get hurt. And then next, I want to talk to you guys about the positions you can play. So one of them is a libero and a DS. So a DS is a down specialist, and the libero and DS usually play in the middle back and the left back. And so your DS and libero are really good passers on the team, and the libero, the only difference is that they wear a different jersey than everybody else. And then they're in the back row the whole entire time. They never go up to the front row. And they also have to stay like behind the 10-foot line when they're hitting. So next I want to talk to you about the left front, which is also called an outside hitter, and they would be standing right there at the net. And then you have your middle blocker, which is in the middle front, and their job is to try to keep the ball from coming over to your side, or just to take away an area so the other team can't hit there. So if I'm standing in the middle of the court and I'm blocking with my hands up, that takes away the whole middle of the court that they can't hit. They're either going to have to hit to the left of me or the right of me. Next, we have our opposite, which plays right front, and then our setter, which plays right back. So our setter you can think of as like a quarterback. You always want to give the ball to them so they can like make the play. And so when the other team serves the ball over to you, if the setter isn't passing, they're going to run around this area, like in between the middle of the court, kind of off to the right, and they're preparing themselves to like run a play. And so after like one of the back row passes the ball, they're going to run over here, and then the 3 people who are in the front are going to come off of the net and prepare to hit whatever play the setter decides to run. And so now I'm going to tell you just a few of the plays that can be run. So for the outside, which is the left, they can either go for a go ball or a 4. So a 4 is just like a rainbow set, just kind of goes all the way out to the left side. And then a go ball is going to be a shorter and faster set. And then for the middles, they can either run a 2, a 1, or like a 3. So when they run a 2, it's going to be a high set in the middle. When they run a 1, it's going to be a faster set and it's going to be lower to the net. And then a 3, they're going to put it off to the side, so in between the left and the middle. Next, for the opposites, they can run a 5 or a beach. So a 5, it's the same thing as a 4. It's going to be a high rainbow set to the right side. And then a beach is like a go, so it's a faster set to the right side. Now for your back row hitters, over here, the middle can either hit a pipe or a bic. So a bic is a fast set to the back row, to the middle back to be exact. And then a pipe is just a higher set to the middle. And when they hit, anybody from the back row has to stay behind the 10-foot line, or else it's an attack, a front row attack, and that's not allowed if you're playing in the back row. And then for the left front, no, the left back, I'm sorry, they're going to be running an A, and so that's just a high set to the left back, and then a D for the right back. So now you know a few of the basic rules of volleyball and some of the positions that you can play and some plays that you can run.
All right, well, I like the story at the beginning where you were talking about the game keeping the balloon off the floor and making the analogy to volleyball. I thought that was pretty effective at introducing the subject. Your subject matter is clear, your goal needs to be a little bit sharper, but you had a good preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. Then I think we run into a few problems. First of all, you've got a lot of technical terms that you throw in, and I know that you're trying to describe things and be accurate, but it gets a little problematic, you know, when we're going to the left back and we've got the AD and I'm hitting a pipe or a bic and there's the libero and who's on first, I don't know, who's on second, that kind of thing. There's just a lot of terms that get thrown in there, and you know what you're talking about. Those of us who are hearing some of these things for the first time, it just, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And you describe them in such technical ways that frankly it's kind of boring. I have friends that talk about golf and it's horrible because they say, I had to lay up the shot on the green and I'm doing this sort of thing and I use the 5-iron and all that kind of stuff. I'm going, what the hell are you talking about? This is not, it's like listening to somebody describe, and I don't mean this, it's not the subject matter per se, it's just because it's so technical, it's not interesting to people. And if you had any examples that you could show us, that would help a little bit. If you had a quick picture clip or something, that would maybe make it a little bit more interesting. But as it is, it's like my trying to describe to you the layout of a web page. But I'm just going to describe it to you. I'm not going to show it to you. On the right column, you'd have this, that. It's just not interesting when you do that, and you want it to be interesting. So if you were teaching people about the rules of volleyball and what the positions were after this, I think you're trying to do too much in a short amount of time, and because there are a lot of technical terms, you're not going to get a chance to do the stuff that makes it as interesting as it should be. This is a planning thing also. You need to do a little audience analysis. People are likely to know some things about volleyball. They may not know other things about volleyball. So what things can I talk about that would make the game more interesting to people? And what kinds of things could they look for or know that are, maybe there are things that they don't know that I should give them a little bit more information about. I think that would be a better way to do it. The visuals, look, when you describe stuff, I think you do a nice job. You've got some nice gestures when you're showing us the kinds of things that you're talking about, the passing and the setting and that kind of stuff. You do that pretty well. But without the context of the game being played, again, it just seems like it's a technical description of something without much context. And I think we need to have a little bit more of that kind of thing in the presentation. All right, thank you.